Hey guys, welcome back to Sad Dad. My name's Dave Abkarian. I am a comedian out of Fresno, California, and this is a podcast where I sit down with my fellow funny friends, my fellow comedians, and we talk about dads. Hi. How are you guys? How's your week been? My voice is a little hoarse right now. We did some shows. I was hosting. I kind of screamed my guts out last night because we had some amazing shows with Nick Petrillo. You guys would know him. I think he was on episode 4 of Sad Dad. He's a real early guest, and his dad's a retired police officer. It's actually a really fun episode if you get a chance to listen to it. And Nick is so funny, man. Holy shnikes. He's great. And so he just came in over the last couple of days, and just burned the place down. It's been so fun. And I'm recording this on a Tuesday. Normally I record this on a Wednesday because I release the episodes on Thursday, and I feel like I try to record these intros and outros like as close to the episode's release as possible. So, just to maximize the amount of things I have to talk about, But it's a Tuesday that I'm recording this on. And that's because Wednesday, tomorrow, I'm doing a gig out in Santa Cruz. It's my headlining a show out there. It's my first out-of-town headlining gig. So excited about that. But didn't think I'd have enough time. I wouldn't be able to get the episode together and posted and recorded and edited and all that fun stuff while I was on the road. So here we are, Tuesday. It's weird, huh? It's what I sound like on Tuesdays. Doing the gig tomorrow with real funny comic. She's Dana Turner. I've been really wanting to have Dana on as a guest. She's and I think she'd actually be my first mom I've had on the show. I'm trying to think back if I've had any moms. Oh, I don't know. So, I don't know. Got some exciting stuff happening this week. Okay, this is just a weird thought I had. I tweeted this recently, but I feel like I know like all of these amazing women, and so many of them like don't want to be moms, and I get that, like they don't want to have kids, and that's fine. But the sad irony of that is like I feel like that's exactly the type of mom the world needs right now. Like somebody who really like understands the weight of raising children and all the responsibility that comes with that and the obligation, and I just feel like that's exactly the type of mom we need. Just not firing hot out of the birth canal, as somebody that like really understands the reverence of the situation. I don't know. This is a weird thought. But yeah, Dana's great. This Saturday I have a really cool gig at Strummers, December 8th. You guys should come to that. That'll be really fun. I don't know if I'm opening or I'm middling on that show. I don't know. I kind of got added to it last second, and not like super last second, but there was a guy that was supposed to do it, but he dropped out, and I don't know. So I'm excited. I always have fun performing at Strummers. So you guys should come to that. Just come on out. Just hang. Just chill. There's a lot of shows happening that night too, which is wild. It'd be cool to have some sad dadders in the audience, because I think there's a theater show happening somewhere. There's just a ton of comedy all happening all at one time in Fresno on the same night. So let's just fill it out. Let's just like party, bro. Let's just party, bro. And so yeah, December 8th, come out and see me and say hi. I will plug this I normally plug this at the back end of the show, but things are getting real. I need you guys to get on iTunes and give this show a rating and review, because my rival podcast, Sad Dad Radio Hour, is now ranked higher than me, and we need to fix that. If somebody types in Sad Dad, it should be my dumb face they see first thing, not Sad Dad Radio Hour. I'm sure those guys are nice. I don't even know what their podcast is about. I think it's about music. I don't know. We started it like literally like within a week of each other. We started our podcast, and we're like, nobody has this name. This is great. And so, anyway, yeah, if you could do that for me, and let's blow those sad dads out of the water with our sad dadite selves. Remember that? I was talking about that for a while. I feel like I want sad dad fans to be sad dadites. Because it's kind of like Evil Dead. The Deadites. I don't know. I just watched the 2013 remake of Evil Dead. It's so good. It's so gory. It's really gory. If you're into gory stuff, it's intense. Yeah. So anyway, that's me. That's what I got going on. We need to just band together and blow those other sad dads out of the water. Let's do it. Okay? Yeah. I mean, that'd be awesome. My guest today is a really, really cool guy. I actually met him this week for the first time. His name is Ashley Johnson, and he came up with Nick Petrillo to feature for Nick. And man, I had so much fun hanging out with Ashley the last couple of days. Really cool, down to earth, grounded dude. And kind of asked him. He last minute. I had a bunch of guests lined up for this week. I was going to hammer out like 2 or 3 sad dads, and like everybody had scheduling conflicts. And so I was really kind of at a loss. I was like, man, who's this week's episode going to be? And then Nick brings this wonderful human being with him. And I kind of sprung it on him. I'm like, hey man, I got this podcast. It's about dads. We talk about dads. Would you be my guest this week? You'd be really helping me out. And he was like, yeah, totally. And so, Nick and Ashley were crashing with me the last couple of days, and Ashley and I found some time to sit down and record an episode of Sad Dad, and it's so good. It's really, really good. I really, really enjoyed this chat with Ashley. It was kind of weird because my parents, they live right next door to me, and their septic system backed up, and my dad, he's 68 years old. 68-year-old man, and he doesn't need to be out there like shoveling dirt, And so I've spent the last 2.5 days like shoveling some dirt, and real sore over it. But it's like it's kind of they have this old septic system, and I mean, I don't know. I've done a shocking amount of work on septic systems because I'm this rare combination of poor but also a homeowner. So you just kind of have to like figure shit out and watch a few YouTube videos. So I've learned how to do a lot of different things because of that, like electrical and plumbing and like working on a septic system. And so I don't know. I've dug up my parents' backyard at this point. It looks like an archaeological dig, but a really shitty one. And so anyway, I was kind of like coming in and out while Ashley and Nick were crashing with me. I think Ashley had the best line while I was up. He was, I had dug up the lid for the septic system, and I showed my dad, and you could see the lid. You gotta like, there's these big heavy concrete lids. You like have to use a winch to lift them up. But my dad's like, I need some room to work. You got the lid uncovered, but you got to widen it up. And I casually mentioned that to Ashley, and he's like, oh. So your dad needs you to gape that shithole, huh? Will you do that? Will you gape that shithole for daddy? Oh, that's funny. Anyway, Ashley's a great dude. He does a dad anecdote at the end that might be on my highlight reel. I'm eventually going to do that. I'm going to do, maybe when I get to like 50 episodes or 100 episodes, do like a supercut of dad anecdotes from my guests. And this is definitely on that list. So stick around for his dad anecdote. It's wild and not like any other dad anecdote you've ever heard. So cool, guys. Let's jump into this thing. My guest this week, Ashley Johnson.
Just a little bit to the temple. We want to see him. He's always down. I gotta patrol the streets. It's the Shabbat. Yeah. If they're committing crimes on Passover, God will take care of them, okay? Don't worry, Spitterman.
He's such a good kid. He swung by Noah's Bagels and picked me up a nosh. It was so great. And then, he came by Shul. It was fantastic.
Good everything bagel goes a long way, I think, in public relations. Hi. Could you talk into that microphone? And you can do headphones.
Spitterman. We can do headphones. Sometimes Spitterman will swing by. He's very silent.
Yeah, I think. It's
check.
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah. There you go. Now you're in a little cocoon of podcasting.
Oh, take it slow.
You said you'd been up to Fresno before. I asked you about that last night.
Yeah, I've been up here before. And that was recent. I was in Gustine.
Gustine. I don't even know where that is.
It's near Modesto.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The most depressing town I've ever been to.
Is it?
We were driving up, and there's all the, no water signs.
Yeah.
But then as you get to Gustine, it's like, welcome to the Dust Bowl that Congress has created.
Yeah, they go hard. I mean, you've been all over the country, performing and stuff, but I find, even the saddest California towns aren't quite as sad as, a town out in, Texas or Ohio,
Oh, yeah.
Because at least when you're in a place like Gustine, you're only, 2 hours from, civilization, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the weirdest one I went to was Clovis, New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And I was out there. I wasn't even doing comedy out there. I was doing bodyguard work for this girl that's a friend of mine. She's a porn star and then does feature dancing and stuff. So I'll travel with her. And Clovis, we had a conversation in the car where the guy that was picking us up from the airport had to stop at his house. And he stops there and he gets out and we're in the car. And I'm like, how long do you live here before you eat a bullet? And she just goes, 4 days. How long are we here for? Okay, 1 day longer and it's all over.
Hey, Nick, could you... Nick's got the Spider-Man going in there. Well, did you see that tongue action?
He did. He no longer gets hard from women. It's just video games.
Talking games?
No.
You see?
We're talking you on games. It's a real problem.
Coming on games. There's got to be a meeting you can get to on this.
That's cool, man. And where did you grow up at?
I grew up in Hampton, Virginia. So
okay.
It's near Virginia Beach on the coast.
What's that place like?
A lot of military. It's the biggest naval base and Air Force base in the world.
Okay.
I think right there. So it's just military and then shipbuilding. And then there's enough of those people to then keep the crackheads and thieves well employed.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I get that. Shipbuilding, that's intense. I mean, just the scale at which we can engineer things sometimes.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like a skyscraper that you turned on its side and then made it float.
Yeah.
And
covered it in guns.
Again, you're let's tape guns to it. I guess they use duct tape. I don't know.
I don't know how
what they do.
Maritime engineering works. So cool. So is it kind of a blue collar upbringing? Is more or less.
Yeah, I had a weird upbringing because it's my dad was a preacher, kind of on and off.
Yeah,
and then my mom worked in a nonprofit organization, writing grants for kids. And
okay.
So it was really they weren't blue collar in the working man's type.
Sure, they're kind of progressive blue collar.
Yeah, but it was we were poor, so you're not affording a white collar.
Right.
But it's not manual labor they're doing.
Is it one of those East Coast towns where it turns real gold and during the fall and everybody's you get a lot of tourists, or is it
No, it's not. I mean, because Virginia, it's just wet. The fall is just rain, constantly just hurricanes and nor'easters hitting you.
Sure, it's snow too, huh?
Yeah, and a lot of evergreen trees, so it's not really pine trees and stuff. It's not changing too much.
Sure. And what? And so you went to school out there. I don't know. What were you like as a kid? Were you a good student and all that fun stuff?
I was a good student, and I'm not dumb. You know? Like, I could fuck off and still pass the test.
Shit.
So I kind of learned that art of, like, just working hard enough. I wasn't going to go home and study. Like, that's for dumb kids.
Right.
Like, so I just did enough to pass.
Sure.
You know?
And were you guys like a big family too? Or did you have a lot of brothers and sisters? Or?
Well, 2 brothers, and then my parents took in foster kids.
Oh, yeah. I heard you mention that. Yeah.
From when I was in, like, the 3rd grade till I graduated and moved out, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I get it, you know, being your dad's a preacher and your mom's working in social work and
Well, no, there was no altruism in this deal, basically. This was a purely financial, we need this to survive deal.
I got you. Yeah.
It was very clear they are there for the paycheck.
Wow.
Because there's 2 kinds of foster kids. There's a foster kid that is their parents are really shitty, but they're a good kid, and you feel bad for them. So then I'll take you into my house, and the state compensates you a little bit.
Right.
And then there's like the emotionally disturbed, like they're the kids that like raped their sister or burned down a barn or like tried to murder somebody.
Yeah.
And their parents can't handle them, so they go into the foster system as therapeutic foster kids.
Okay.
So we took those in because they pay more.
Well, fair enough.
And so it took us from being like bankrupt to living in like a moderately middle class neighborhood.
Sure.
But then you're there in this middle class neighborhood, and it's you, your 2 brothers, and then 3 foster kids. It's like you got to be in a nicer group home at that point, you know.
And what's your comedy origin story? I mean, did you start comedy back east or?
No, I came out here for music.
Oh, okay.
And I was like a background musician and music teacher, like private lessons and shit for like 10 years or something. But I was dating a girl who was kind of a comedian. She was a comedian, but did a lot of like bringer shows and stuff. She wasn't really grinding.
Sure.
And she was always like, "You're really funny. You should be a comic." And I'm like, "No, I'm a musician." And then one day she just goes, "Oh, I booked you a show at the Belly Room in a month, so you got to get ready." I was like, "Ah, fuck!" You know, the Belly Room is at the Comedy Store.
Yeah,
It's the most famous club in the world. They're like, "We're gonna just throw you in the fire."
Oh, wow.
And I did well with that, but because I'd only seen her as a younger comic, I didn't understand the grind, so I didn't really do. Like when people ask me how long I'm doing comedy, I'm like, I did that for like 2 years. And then just kind of got over it, and I took like 5 or 6 years off, and then I've been back in for like 3.5.
Oh, okay, I got you.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, having that 5 or 6 years off and kind of coming back to it, did you look at comedy any different? Like, did you have some like epiphanies as an older man, you know, looking at it again, or was it just exactly like it was? I mean,
I guess I had an epiphany in like how hard you have to grind, and then the community aspect of it, you know, like everybody knows everybody kind of thing.
Right.
But I think I just had a different view of life. You know, like at 23, you've not gone through shit.
Right.
And then you get to 30, and you're like, well, now I got like an abortion and a fucking police raid and robbery at gunpoint, and I've sold a lot of drugs. So it's like now I have something to talk about.
Sure. Absolutely.
I didn't want to like live my life trying to write jokes. I'd rather live my life and then write jokes about that.
Yeah, right.
You know?
What instrument was your specialty?
I play the bass.
Nice.
That's what, like, I have like a degree in that.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's rad, dude.
That's cool.
Do you still play?
When I'm like super depressed, and I'm like, I can't think in words anymore, so I'll just play the bass.
That's wild. I mean, so you like pursued education and a career in music. So, I mean, that's just about as far. Well, I guess I don't know. I feel like there's more working musicians than there are working comedians. You know, I feel like there are more people making a living off of music than.
It's a more cutthroat thing.
Is it?
I would say there's probably not more musicians making than comics.
So? No.
It's probably similar or more comedians. Because bands, the backing work is, you know, whoever's on tour, and then however many pieces they need for the band.
Sure.
that's where your money's at.
Right.
Other than that, you're working like the same shit kind of gigs of making $100 to go out to a restaurant and play for 4 hours.
Sure.
You know.
Did you do much studio work? Like
I did some studio work, and that's harder to get into.
Is it?
Because, one guy can do 40 different studio things in like a month or two.
Sure.
And the producer knows that guy and knows he's good, so he's not going to risk fucking up a record on a dude he doesn't know.
Right.
So it's kind of like you got to wait for those guys to die or get in with a good producer that's on his way up.
Right.
Or other than that, it's going to be a wash.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, do you see a lot of... I mean, it sounds like it already, but it sounds like there are a lot of parallels between the music world and the comedy world.
Yeah. In the cutthroat nature, comedy... It's more communal because because of the nature of how you have to practice.
Sure.
Like music, you can sit in your room by yourself and you can practice, or if you're in a band, it's you and those 4 or 5 people.
Right.
And then you're just in your own little world, and
Sure.
then you go out with a finished product. Comedy, it's like you can't just go in your own little world and come out with a great set. It's not going to happen.
Right. It'll never happen. I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's almost the exact opposite. Like you think you got this beautiful little like joke written, and then it just gets ripped to shreds by
You go up and you start sweating, and you're like, maybe this whole comedy thing's just it's not for me anymore.
Maybe I'm just retarded.
Yeah. You eat such a big dick, you're just like, am I even funny? Like, am I a good... Especially you bomb like 3 or 4 days in a row, and you're just like, am I even...
Yeah, dude.
A human being anymore?
That was me in October. I was just getting my dick kicked in like set after set after set. And you kind of eventually pull out of the nosedive and feel better about yourself. But god damn it, you're just like, man, this hurts.
I always look at like bombings. I always feel like when I have like a really hard bomb... Mm-hmm. Or if it's like 1 or 2 in a row, then I'm like, all right, the next few shows are probably going to be really good.
Yeah, you'll come back. Well, and like, just this week, like our Friday show, I crushed on our Friday show, but it was like a really drunk audience. And it was like one of those where it felt like a cheap win,
Yeah.
Whereas our Saturday show, it was a much smaller crowd, much more sober crowd. And like they were kind of iffy at the beginning, and then I had them by the end. And like that to me felt better.
Yeah, that's when you earn it.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to never... I always blame myself for shitty shows, and I never blame myself for good shows. Like, if it's a good show, I'm like, that was a good crowd.
Right.
And if it's a bad show, that was a bad set for me. Like, I need to figure out what else to do.
Yeah.
Because I hate when comics blame the room.
Yeah,
And my favorite thing to do is have a comic blame the room and then go up and crush immediately after. And then go, it's not the room. The room's fine.
Yeah. It's a tough lesson to learn, dude, especially when you're new. Like, they don't. I mean, we were kind of talking about this out there, is just being able to like read the audience and be like, okay, this is the kind of material they want. And obviously, as you progress, you have more of different kinds of material, but yeah, it's a real a very like young comedian's fallacy,
I've seen old comedians do it.
Think so
lot.
too? Oh,
yeah,
man.
I've seen like vets come off and when they do that to me, I'm like, oh, that's why you're not further along. Is because you never learned the lesson of like you have to be good enough to where 90% of the rooms you go into, you're killing.
Right. Right.
And it's like there's never a bad audience if they're a bad audience if they're talking to each other.
Right.
If it's everyone in the room just will not shut the fuck up and listen to you, that's a bad audience. If they're sitting down quietly and staring at you, that is a great audience.
Yeah, right.
And if you bombed, they didn't write those shitty jokes. You did.
This is on you, buddy.
So yeah, that's all on you.
Yeah.
Go home, listen to it. As painful as it is, go home, fucking listen to it, and figure out what you did wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you make a fantastic point.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. So you started in L.A. But it also sounds like you are pretty good about getting out on the road. Is that?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to have people take me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not as much as I would like, but I mean, I'm still like 3 years in, so
sure.
It's it's happening more frequently. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Do you have? Do you have like a Rolodex of contacts from music? And the only reason I bring it up is because I was looking right at that fucking poster right there with Eric Friedman. He's the tour manager for Sublime with Rome.
Oh, nice.
And he's also a comedian, and he leveraged all of his contacts from music into like getting shows and I've always been curious if like working musicians that go into comedy, if that's a common thing or not, but I don't know.
Because I was just a hired musician.
Sure.
I didn't have that many contacts with like bookers. Because I would just kind of get a schedule and then we're going here, then here, then here.
Right.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
So I didn't make a lot of like people to leverage on.
Sure. Yeah.
And also, I feel weird asking for shit like that.
It is. That is that's something that's been really hard for me too. It's like sometimes I'm like, nobody books me, and then I'm like, well, who the fuck have I asked to book me? You know,
never ask. I'd say 99% of my bookings come from people hitting me up and being like, "Do you want to do this? Do you want to like?"
It's like, yeah, I guess.
And then I'm like, "Yeah, of course."
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. It's a hard pill to swallow though. Like it's like you kind of have to be like your own advocate, you know.
And I've had one I like featured for a buddy of mine, and the booker was like, "Oh, I'm so happy you're featuring. I've wanted to have you up here for a while, but we only pay like $75, and I didn't want to insult you." And I was like, "What the fuck? You're not insult me for being like, let me pay you money for? Yeah, fucking pay me. I'll go do it."
Yeah, right. I mean, $75 is gas money enough to most places, at least.
It was only like a 40-minute drive away. It was from like around Six Flags.
Oh,
yeah. I'll fucking do that.
What is that, Valencia? Yeah. That's like
nowhere.
That's great, man.
Maybe like Ventura, I think, but like Southern Ventura.
Yeah. When you live in, you were kind of going on a good tear last night about downtown LA. Is that that's got to be a wild. That's got to be a wild change of scenery for you coming from Virginia.
Oh yeah. Well, the wildest was when I first moved here. I moved here in September, and I didn't know anyone, and school didn't start for like 3 weeks. So just alone for 3 weeks in LA.
What school are you going to?
I was going to the Musicians Institute in like Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I lived like off of Hollywood Boulevard, and you alone with no friends. So I gotta just go meet random people and try to make friends. Ended up going with this like weird bike messenger dude and this other like drug dealer guy, and we meet at his house for Halloween, and he's in West Hollywood. He's like, we're just going to go walk around Santa Monica Boulevard for their parade on West Hollywood. If you've never been to West Hollywood, it is, on Halloween, it's gay Mardi Gras. Like, they shut down probably 2 miles. They put about 300,000 or 400,000 people walking around the streets. And they don't give a fuck. You can drink walking around the streets. There was like a 6 foot tall black dude with like shredded, complete with a cock ring and angel wings was his costume.
That's amazing.
And you're like, that from Virginia, it tripped me. I was like, this is just a shock. All right, that was my first like real taste of LA.
What does your family think of you doing comedy and being out this way? I mean, do you guys talk much or?
We don't talk much. I mean, they're cool with it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those, like, well, he's poor, but he's chasing his dream, so fuck it.
Is it? Where do you fall, like, in the brothers? Are you oldest or?
I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest? Okay, cool. I mean, is it one of those things where your older brothers are kind of doing, like, taking a more traditional route and they kind of just like, nah.
You know what it seems like?
Out there.
It seems like that I think my parents understand the longer we were in the foster system, the weirder we became.
That's funny.
You know? Because it's like, even though I wasn't technically a foster child, I was still in the foster system from 3rd grade on.
Yeah, right. You're like this. Yeah.
You can't expect him to be a normal person.
Right.
So, like, my oldest brother, he was at the least, and he, like, you know, was like a preacher and graduated from Princeton and shit. And
wow.
Was like really smart guy. He's got like his doctorate from there.
No shit.
And then my older brother's like a tour manager for Disney on Ice.
Oh.
So he's like a nomad, but he's got a good job.
Yeah, right.
And then it's me is the just like He's gonna go do his own thing, and hopefully it works out. And if it doesn't, well, he's a big guy. He can take care of himself.
It's funny too because your middle brother almost kind of bridges the gap between the different lifestyles. Of
Exactly. It's a natural progression to being a weirdo.
That's funny.
To talking about doing acid on stage and shit.
Do you ever get back east often? Or, I mean, do you ever go home for the holidays or anything like that?
Maybe like every couple of years.
Sure.
I'll go.
Do you miss it?
No, not like. It's a poor area.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
You know, so when I moved here, I thought like the Crenshaw district was a nice area. I was like, this looks like a really nice area. Like South Central to me is like these people are at least middle class, right?
Sure.
This is good. Where's the boards on the windows? Where's the rained out fucking moldy doors and shit?
Yeah,
that's
right.
like poverty, and that's a lot of where I'm from.
Sure.
So it's like you go back and you're like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I go and it's like, my mom knows 3 days max. You're getting me for like a Wednesday to Friday, Saturday, and I'm out.
Did you ever maintain any? Or I guess maybe this is a better question. Did you have any like meaningful connections with any of the kids in that you were fostering? You know what I mean? Like, did you ever like keep track of them or?
There's like one we did because he was there the longest.
Oh shit!
He was probably there for like 2. Usually they were on like a 6 month to a year and a half, and then they were either at a new home or that we had rehabilitated them enough to go back to their normal family.
Sure.
And there's one who's still cool with my mom, but most of them it's just like nah.
Sure. Yeah. Is it in? I mean, what was that like? What was that? What did that do in terms of like the atmosphere in the household? Did it make things like more tense or?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And it was weird. My dad kind of like he was a hitter, you know. He was a very like go get the belt kind of corporal punishment.
Sure.
And then we started taking the foster kids in. Of course, you can't hit them because they still belong to the state.
Right.
So my dad kind of had the idea of like, well, I can't hit you, but if you guys get in a fight, well, and my kid hits you,
oh fuck,
well, I don't have to stop it.
Oh,
you know, I don't have to like punish him because you got in a fight because you stole from him. You fucking stole. You need to learn a lesson.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was just like a pretty violent, like house. You know. I heard this one time. It was probably like midnight or something like that, and I was about to go to bed, and the whole house was kind of sleeping, and my dad comes downstairs. And the idea was like I was going to stand by the stairs and jump out and scare him. And I jumped out and scared him, and he was just like, Jesus, don't do that. You know we live with psychopaths, right? It's like, that could have been one of the foster kids with a knife, man. You can't fucking do that around here.
That is so funny.
And I'm like, you put him in the house. This was your idea.
Yeah. That is wild, dude. Well, cool. Well, you're Ashley Johnson.
Yeah.
Hey, hi.
Hey.
Thanks for. This is a podcast where we talk about dads. We've already mentioned your dad a couple of times. So yeah. Well, where did your dad grow up?
He grew up in North Carolina, I believe, near the Raleigh area. In like the 50s and 60s. Yeah.
Is he? I mean, he's a preacher? Did he have like a really religious upbringing? Or?
No, he was. Well, I don't know if they're religious. He grew up as a sharecropper.
Okay.
So
you have to explain. I've heard that term before. I don't know that I necessarily know what it means.
So like post-slavery, they had all these farms that were employed by slaves, and then the slaves were no longer employed.
Okay.
So they've got all this land. They need to figure out what to fucking do with it. So the owners of the land come up with the idea of, I'll give you a small plot of land on this farm. You farm it, and then you pay me a large percentage of your crop, and then you keep your own percentage, and that's like kind of like rent, basically, but you don't have to pay it. You have to pay it on every crop.
Okay.
And so that's basically what they were doing as well. It's just like former slaves and really poor white people were sharecroppers.
Wow, wild.
You know?
Yeah. And that seems like a pretty intense time and place to be. You know, like, I mean, because he's like right in the thick of a lot of what was going on with the civil rights movement, right?
Yeah. And he wasn't a racist guy, so I feel like he was probably on the right side of it.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Because the thing is like, if you're poor and intelligent, it's hard to be racist.
Sure.
But poor, stupid people need to blame it on somebody, so they got to blame their problems on somebody else.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So he was never that kind of guy.
And was he? So he's going to school. Was he? Do you have any idea what he was like as a student? Was he? I mean, you said he's a smart guy. I mean,
Yeah, he was smart, so he was probably a good student.
yeah.
I mean, he ended up going to college.
Yeah.
And then later almost got his doctorate, but I don't think he ever actually got it.
Oh, really? Did he go to? Was it like a seminary or what was he?
He went to like regular North Carolina State for. I think he was going to like study to be a history teacher or something, and then he went to a seminary after that.
Really?
And,
what was it about that like path? That I mean, what? Also too, is he like a Methodist preacher? Or is he Presbyterian?
He's Baptist.
Baptist.
Yeah.
Well, that's intense. Yeah.
Not really.
Pretty chill.
He was more chill than most. He was never a like preaching morals kind of person.
Okay.
You know, he was like trying to like teach lessons and shit, but he wasn't gonna like get pissed because somebody went to the movies on a Sunday night. He's like, hey, who gives a fuck?
Dude, I like a good like theologian. Like, you know, like that's, I mean, say what you will about religion, but man, like when you get those like the church my mom goes to is this Presbyterian church, and they had this pastor there for a long time, and he was like a legit Bible scholar, you know, and it's like that type of stuff fascinates me. Like when somebody can really contextualize what was going on in that Bible rather than like just kind of like cherry pick like morals and
yeah, my dad was kind of like the Bible scholar type person.
That I dig. I mean, but I mean, so he kind of went into it. He didn't necessarily know that or you went to college not necessarily with the plan to become a preacher. Do you know like what changed in him or what kind of diverted?
I don't, because he always had this thing, and he called it like his 7 lost years, and he would never talk about it.
That is fascinating.
He would, I found out part of it. Apparently, one of his best friends was a comic who was a strip club comic.
Whoa.
And the only reason I knew this is because I found his old VHS tape when it was one of the first comedy probably things I ever watched. So like we found this, and he was called the Duke of Dirt, and he would just go to strip clubs and then he basically said fuck comedy clubs. He was just working in strip clubs. He'd have one night and it'd be like a stripper comedy thing.
That's amazing.
It was ridiculous.
That's fun. And that's his best friend.
And that was like his best friend for a while, and it was like they would go around together.
Wow.
With like a bottle of whiskey in the trunk and just getting drunk and doing stuff. And he's just like, those were his 7 lost years. He never talks about it.
That's crazy.
You can't really, like, he won't say anything about it. It's just, that's him.
That's nuts. Wow. Where does your mom come in all of this? How'd they meet?
They met in seminary, which I think was like, he did the hanging out with the comic and then went to seminary after that.
Sure. Just kind of sowed his roots or his
yeah,
seeds.
And I feel like they were wild because he would always kind of like drop little hints of like, yeah, well, I was running from the cops for dropping bad checks, and you're like, oh, what were you talking about?
Yeah, come on, yeah.
And you're like, oh, every time I've been arrested, I've been able to talk him into letting me drive myself to the jailhouse. And you're like, what the fuck? And it just comes out of nowhere, and there's no like back or front story to it. It's like, nope, I'm gonna make that statement and walk away from it.
That's wild. Tell me a little bit about your mom. What kind of? I mean, did you feel like she kind of like settled him down a little bit, or was he pretty? If he was already going to seminary at that point, was he?
Yeah, she probably settled him down a bit.
Yeah. What kind of person is she, or what's she like?
She's really cool. She's a strong, funny kind of woman.
Yeah.
Like, just good person. Like, always the neighborhood mom kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all the kids would, like, she'd give people rides to school that just, like, weren't in the family, but just like, you go to school with my kid, just if you're around, just hop in the fucking car, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. Were they married a long time before they started having kids?
I don't think so. I'm not sure, though.
Got right to it.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like your dad is close to my dad's age. My dad's 68.
Yeah. That'll be 69, I think, next week.
Okay. So you were a little bit late to the game for him then, huh? Like,
I think he had me at like 33.
Oh, okay.
Or something. Wait.
No,
Like 35.
35, 30,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
I think he started at like 27.
Okay, well that's
27,
pretty, that's pretty
28.
reasonable. Yeah. There's like this big gap between my older brother and I, like a 14-year gap. And anytime I hear somebody that has older parents like I have, I'm like, oh, like sometimes you get some interesting stories out of like, oh, what were they doing when they weren't having kids? But I mean, were they pretty much like they just kind of hunkered down? They found each other in seminary and got married, and they were like, okay, we're doing this, or did they?
I think so.
Yeah.
I never knew too much about their like relationship.
Sure.
You know.
And what was your relationship like with your dad? Was he?
We were close at first, and then I feel like there was a very definite switch when I was in the 4th grade.
Interesting.
Because he was like very obese when I was growing up, like very, very obese.
Yeah.
And I remember I was doing a play, and it was like George Washington travels through time kind of thing. And I was the biggest kid, so they're like, you're going to be George Washington because you look like an adult standing next to these fucking kids. You're not a good actor. You're just believable as an adult. You genetic freak. And I remember I was doing the play, and I remember asking, I think my mom or even my dad being like, I don't want Dad to go because he's embarrassing. Ooh. And like from my angle as a kid, I'm fat, I'm poor, I have a girl's name.
Yeah.
I don't need my dad to show up in sweatpants and an I Love Jesus sweatshirt.
Sure.
And morbidly obese.
Yeah.
And like you're just giving the kids more ammo. They're already got a full clip. You're gonna give them a backup clip of insults. Can't just sit this one out.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was a noticeable switch of like this went from like I really like this kid to he's my obvious least favorite kid.
Oh, bummer. Yeah.
And I mean we're still not close. Like I haven't seen him in 9 years.
Wow.
And then I maybe talk to him like once a year. You know.
Is he pretty close with your brothers?
No, actually, it's interesting because he's pretty much estranged from both. He's almost estranged from the whole family.
Really?
You could say.
Are your parents still married?
No, they divorced. Shit. 10 years ago?
Wow.
No. Probably 8 years ago.
Wow, that's wild. So, I mean, to divorce that late in life is almost, you don't see that all that often, I don't think.
Yeah, well, I don't think they were happy for a long time.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like, let's not get divorced when the kids are still in the house and like,
sure. Yeah.
Like don't throw that on don't fuck up kids because you're not happy kind of thing. So like, sure. Once we were all like adults, and it was like, what are we even doing?
Right,
you know?
right. We're not enjoying each other's company. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So. Does he still preach?
Yeah, I think he just got back, and I talked to him recently. He called me out of the blue, and saying he's like preaching like a Methodist church now or something. He's not a like denominational guy,
sure,
unless it's like Pentecostals. Because he used to put on like gospel concerts and stuff too, and he owned like a AM gospel radio station.
Wow.
It's not as impressive as it sounds. It lost us a lot of money.
Oh, well, fair enough.
It was a lot of strife from the family. But I just remember we were at a Pentecostal church, and they're the people that like catch the spirit and they start shaking and shit.
Yeah.
And I was walking. I was like, "Dad, what's going on with these people?" And he's like, "It's all bullshit. They're just faking it." Like, you know,
yeah, that's
like
so funny.
He was religious, but he never took it too serious. Like you understand, it's like he takes it seriously, but not too serious. I think he's just a preacher because he's really good at public speaking.
Sure.
And probably didn't want to take the time to be a comic. Or something, you know?
Yeah, right.
Because he is an amazing public speaker.
Is he?
Yeah, like as a kid, he would have a job preaching for a couple of years, and we would go to church and I'd see him, and then he'd lose that job for any number of reasons, and then he would go to his radio station, which was like 4 hours away from where we lived. And he basically just lived there for a couple of years and work at the radio station, come back like once a month for a day and then be back out.
Whoa.
And so he was in and out like that. And then in the in-between, we would try to go to other churches, and I'd always just be like, well, this preacher's a hack. Like, he sucks. You know? He's got no good performance. His voice isn't changing at all. It's very monotone. Like, his storytelling sucks. Like,
That's wild, dude.
Yeah.
So, like, there was a point where, like, your mom would be home with a house full of three boys and
three boy and all the foster kids were boys, and we all were around the same age.
Yeah.
So when it's teenagers, it's 6 teenage boys in the house.
God damn. God bless your mom.
Yeah,
dude.
and then he
Holy
would just
shit.
like be in and out during those times, and she's like, "What the fuck, man?" Like,
yeah. Was she? Oh, and she was working too. Yeah.
oh yeah, she was the main breadwinner. When he wasn't making money from the radio station, it was barely enough to keep the doors open. Generally less than, and she had to pay for some of that out of her pocket.
Wow.
You know.
Wow,
so.
what a woman, man. Holy shit.
she's a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's she doing these days?
She's good. She remarried. She's really happy.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so,
Good.
I mean,
that's awesome. Good for her,
Yeah.
man.
And the guy that she remarried to is much more financially stable.
Sure.
So it's like, in the end, she ended up with like a good, happy life.
Oh, good. I mean, that's great, dude. And you're still. It sounds like you're still pretty close with her.
Yeah, I talk to her more often. I mean, it's still not a close family. Because I look at like me and my mom are the closest, and I maybe talk to her once every 6 weeks.
And what do you think? Like, where do you think the wheels kind of like fell off on all of it? You know what I mean? Like,
I just think the foster thing
Yeah.
just gave me a fractured sense of what a family is.
sure.
You know?
Yeah, I
And
can
so
see that.
you just like friends become family, and family just becomes like, it's not like there's any like beef with the, like, you know, I love seeing my brothers, talking to them, but it's not like I have to.
Right.
You know, you don't get that yearning of like, oh, if I don't talk to my mom every other day, I get real sad. You're like, why? Like, you would never survive prison.
Yeah, and I could absolutely see how like it could almost delude the familial experience when you've got all of these strangers suddenly injected into it. You know, it's like yeah, I could absolutely see how that could happen.
Because it wasn't even a steady cast. You know, like every 6 to 8 months, a new one would come in, and then there's 3 of them, so it's just like a rotating like Big Brother house.
Totally, yeah, and I could see how it would just cause things to blur, and I could almost see where you could almost think of things in terms of like eras, like, oh, that was the time Kevin was living with us, and that was the time
I kind of do.
Yeah.
You know, I remember like, you know, the Eric days or the Johnny Marshall days or like Mike Duff days. That was the only cool one we ever had.
Mike Duff.
Mike Duff
Sounds cool as
was
shit already.
the man. He's cool as shit. He had a motorcycle he was always working on. Because we got him when he was like 16, I think.
Yeah.
And he would have been in normal foster care, but he got caught a few times like smoking weed and huffing paint. So they're like, nah, you're in therapeutic. And it was the only one, because my dad would have to go with him to get prescriptions. And sometimes they would call him by the kid's last name because that's what they're like seeing on the prescription. And my dad would always be like, no, I'm not this fucking kid's dad. Like, don't put this freak on me. My genes are fine. Okay.
He sounds like a 90s TV character, like the bad kid in like Boy Meets World or something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
He was the only one, because we were all big. Like, all my brothers are big, and we'd fight, and Mike Duff was the only one who like could win the fight. So I would always find myself like siding with him to be like, now I got your protection from my big brothers. So
That's funny.
We're cool.
Was he a big guy too?
He wasn't a big guy. He was just a tough kid that knew how to fight.
Yeah. Those are the ones you really got to watch out for.
Yeah. And he's the only one that stayed after foster care was done as well. Because it was like, his parents were pretty shitty, and he just would prefer to live with us. And my parents were like, yeah, we'll charge you like $100 a week or something, and you just keep your spot.
Yeah, as long as everybody's happy. Yeah. That's so funny, dude. Like you're how tall? You're like 6'3", 6'4"?
6'4".
6'4"? Is that all your brothers are?
Between like 6'1" and me, so
Yeah.
it's like 6'1",
Are you the
6'2", and then
tallest?
6'4".
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
The youngest brother became the tallest.
Yeah, I'm the tallest and probably just like broadest one. Like
Sure.
my oldest is the smallest one for sure.
Uh-huh.
And then Bran is like a little bit bigger than me, like heavier wise, but
Sure.
a little bit shorter.
Do you still deal with like the little brother complex? Like, do you still have that every now and then, even though you're?
No, because I feel like with us, we got enough of the like physical and verbal abuse out of our system as kids
Sure.
from just being in that environment.
Right.
That as adults, like we don't have to like fuck with each other anymore,
Was
And we only see each other. Like you see a guy once. I see my middle brother, who I'm probably closest with. I see him maybe once every 2 years. So you're not going to spend those couple of days being a dick.
Sure.
Like if it was every like few weeks I was seeing, and then you probably still deal with that shit.
Right.
But that kind of time apart, you go, let's just like make the best of what we're doing right now.
Right. You mentioned it earlier too. Is the whole corporal punishment thing, and was that I mean, was that handled in like an even keeled way, or was
No, I got the worst of that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's
Like because it would also be my older brothers thought it was funny to lie, and then basically like one of those like we'd be outside and then they'd go inside like Ashley was cussing and there's like go get the belt and you're like what the shit, man.
Oh, fuck, dude.
I
That's
didn't
rough.
cuss, like
Yeah.
you're just getting me beat so you can laugh at it. That's fucked up.
That's pretty fucked up. Holy
Like
shit,
they did
dude.
that at least twice.
Wow. Wow, that's rough, man. This is a part of the show where I normally ask for like a dadictote. You have like any particular memory or thought or
My funniest one.
Okay.
And I don't even, if he listens to this, he might even be upset. But
I don't know.
All right.
Is your dad a podcast kind of guy?
but if I post it, he'll probably give it a listen or something.
Oh, okay. Well,
But so we had this kid, Johnny Morris, right?
this is one of the
And,
foster kids.
One of the foster kids. And he was a funny fucking kid. Like, and that was around the time we were all 15, 16, like, we're stealing cigarettes and it was wild times. But Johnny used to jerk off a lot. Okay? like a lot. And he had this pair of white jeans. And he would always use that as like his cum rag.
Oh, geez.
Because what the fuck else are you going to do with white jeans if you're a straight guy? You're not
Yeah.
going to wear them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Fair enough.
So he would always use his cum rag pretty much until these things were like stiff as a board. Like you could break a car window with these jeans. And my dad had a thing where he hated washing clothes that he thought were clean.
Okay.
Okay, like if he hadn't seen you wear it and he saw it in the dirty clothes, he'd get pissed. Because it's just wasteful and it's like, what the fuck? Don't do this. So Johnny, once the jeans get too stiff, I guess they cut his dick one day or something. He throws them out to be washed. And we're all sitting there playing video games one day, and my dad's like throwing a load of clothes in, and he sees these jeans. And he comes in with these jeans, and he's like, Johnny, you have not worn these jeans. I would know if you worn these jeans. And we're all like, nah, man, those jeans are dirty. We're like, those jeans are dirty. And my dad's like, they're definitely not dirty. And I'm like, no, they're fucking dirty, man. So my dad throws the jeans at Johnny. Johnny's like, ugh. Throws them back at my dad. They throw him back and forth for a minute. And my dad, being the fat guy he is, he starts getting sweaty and out of breath and wipes his face with the jeans.
No.
And he's like, fine, I guess I'll go wash them.
That is so funny. Holy shit. Wow, that is wild.
That's my favorite dad.
That is a great daddy. If he listens to this, is this the first he's going to find out about?
Probably.
Wow. Because I don't know who's telling dad at that point. Like, yeah. Holy shit, that is funny. God damn.
That house did provide a lot of just like random funny moments. Like this is how he was with punishments. He got real weird once he couldn't hit kids. So he got like creative. But with there was a time where we had a huge stash of porn. Okay, it's just like there's 6 teenage boys, so we got a communal stash. But you get absent-minded, and like every now and again we'd leave like some porn on a bathroom counter or something, and then my mom would come and find it. It's like, whose porn is this? And we had like a code of silence of it's nobody's porn. This porn belongs to the universe.
Yeah. Nobody's and everybody's.
So we kept finding it. And one day I think like my grandmother or something came over and she found something. And my dad freaks out and he's upset with Brandon, the middle brother. And he's just like, I want you to bring every piece of porn that's in this house downstairs. I want it all out or I'm going to toss your room. And he would toss your room like prison styles if he felt like he had some shit in there. And so my brother's like kind of in that rebellious zone. He's like, fuck it. Do you want to see what we got? Sure. And he comes down with a contractor garbage bag full of magazines. There's probably like 100 magazines. My dad's like, what's the best punishment I can come up with? So what he does is my mom used to work for the health department in like sexual education thing. So he makes my brother sit with my mom for like 4 hours and go through every magazine. And she's going through it in medical detail as to like what's going on. Like, here's the clitoris. These are known as the labia. This is like,
labia majora.
And just made him sit through the whole fucking.
Wow, that's so funny, dude.
He was a weird dude, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, actually, you've been a ton of fun today. Tell the people where they can find you on social media if they want more Ashley Johnson in their life.
Mainly, I'm on Instagram. A dude named Ashley.
Dude named Ashley.
Yeah.
I'll link it in the show notes, man. Thank you so much. This was so
problem.
fun.
Thank
You were a great guest. Ashley Johnson, everybody. That was great, right? Told you, that daddy toad, right? Oh, it's so funny. Oh man, yeah. So that has been our show. Again, just shameless plugging of things. I was talking about gaping shitholes earlier. I'm talking about plugging things. God, this episode's raunchy, huh? Man, I'm glad I didn't have Abby on this week. It's got dirty. It's all right. It's okay. We're all friends here. You know, we're all grown-ups listening to podcasts together. You know, it's cool. It's fine. Let our hair down. Be gross once in a while. It's fun. Anyway, yeah. So if you could, again, iTunes, rate and review this thing. Let's show those other sad dads what's up. We are the dominant species of sad dad. and so yeah, rate and review on iTunes. If you got any dad anecdotes of your own, you can send those to saddadpodcast@gmail.com. I am going to get that Sad Dad Facebook page going for us. I have this weird page, like this weird Facebook page. Like when I have my Instagram and I use my Instagram to promote this podcast more than I use Facebook. And when I switched my Instagram from like a private to a public account, it like automatically created this Dave Apkarian Facebook page, like fan page. And like I've literally never done anything. It has like two likes or whatever. And I think it's like my mom and I don't know, some Nigerian prince or something. And I was thinking about flipping that page to the Sad Dad Podcast page, and which would make my life easier because like people keep tagging that page, the Dave Apkarian fan page, on like the promotional stuff that like shows that I'm booked on, and it's kind of a problem. So if I switch the name to Sad Dad Podcast, it solves two problems. That dumb page won't get tagged and stuff. And we'll have a page, and we can, I don't know, we can discuss stuff. I don't know, we can talk about, I don't know, food or whatever you guys want to talk about, I guess. And so I'll get that going pretty soon. I was actually trying to do that on my phone just now, but apparently you can only do that from a desktop, change the names like that. So, and then. The Sad Dad Patreon. You can hop on that if you want to help support the show financially. Help me out with some of the podcast hosting service fees, and I'd love you forever for that. I'd love you even if you don't. Picked up a bunch of new listeners over the last couple of weeks, and who've all reached out to me and said some really, really nice things. So thank you guys. Thank you for the new Sad Dadites. Thank you for like my OGs. My day onesies too. You guys are great. Yeah, I've never met an uncool Sad Dad fan. You guys are all just super chill, super. Yeah, you're all like podcast nerds too. Like I'm kind of a podcast nerd, and I think it's great. And you guys are all awesome. And thank you so much. So that was the iTunes, Gmail, and the Patreon, and I talked about gaping shitholes. I think that was it, guys. Thank you so much, and give Ashley a follow. If you see Ashley performing in or around your area, I actually booked him to come back up in April. Come check him out. He's so I'd never worked with him before, and he just came in and blew the doors off the place, and he's great. I am very aware of the fact I have kind of had a string of straight white guy guests. And I get it, and that's coming from a straight white guy, myself. And so I do try to. I am very conscious of my guests and presenting different viewpoints. Ashley was great. I think he had a terrific angle on his upbringing. I like I said, I've had a few female comics that I've had lined up, but scheduling has been kind of weird for me. So, I'll be injecting some more diversity into the guest lineup here real soon. And I'm just so thankful that Ashley did the show this week, and he really, really helped me out and was very, very clutch for me. And so, next week, I'm going to try to release an episode. I'm going to try to sit down with Dana Turner. I think you guys will really like Dana. She's so funny. And get her on as a guest. And over the next couple of weeks, I'm really excited. I have some fantastic people that are going to be rolling through that I'm going to be sitting down and doing some recordings with. So I'm excited to share those with you guys too. So cool, guys. That's it. I've been rambling now for way too long. You guys have been fantastic. And adios.